Are the 2024 Seattle Mariners a playoff team? Find out more in today's video. So while a lot of Mariner fans are very pleased with Justin and Jerry were able to do this offseason with the restraints they had on them, there's still a lot of questions about whether this team is truly a playoff team and really has a solid chance at winning the AL West division. So there's a few things that I want to discuss with you guys in today's video and really just go into more of what needs to happen for the Mariners to truly make the playoffs, as well as some projections from other websites. So let's start with certain projections from certain websites across the game of baseball. So I'm not exactly sure what website this tweet came from, but it was all over Mariners Twitter when it first came out. And as you can see, they have Houston winning the division at 95 wins, Texas coming in second with 86 wins, and Seattle coming in third with only 84 wins. To me, this is really a stretch because I do not see us having 11 less wins than the Houston Astros, who really didn't do much besides sign Josh Hader this offseason. While a lot of Mariner fans may disagree with this, the MLB Network actually has the Texas Rangers finishing 9 games out of first place behind the Houston Astros with 86 wins as well. So they really have high projections for the Astros to go out and win over 90 games and well over 90 games in this upcoming season, which I definitely think is possible for them, but at the same time, they really haven't done too much to improve. They're obviously always going to be good for at least for a long time. And as we know, they are going to come out and win at least over 80, 85 games this year without a doubt. But I think the most accurate one is Fangraphs in terms of the percentages to make the playoffs as well as who's going to win the division. So Fangraphs gives the Houston Astros a 61.3% chance to win the division. It gives the Mariners a 24% chance to win the division and the Texas Rangers a 10.6% chance to win the division. And it gives the Astros an 84.7% chance to make the playoffs, Mariners a 58.3% chance, and the Rangers a 35.3% chance. It also has the Astros with the possibility of winning the World Series at a 10.8%, the Mariners at a 4%, and the Rangers at a 1.5%. To me, I think this is pretty accurate because on paper, I do believe we are better than the Texas Rangers, especially in terms of starting pitching and the bullpen. They've lost Aroldis Chapman as well as they had the possibility to lose Montgomery this offseason. As we know, they also lost Mitch Garver. Obviously, he's a Seattle Mariner. But obviously, losing Chapman in a bullpen is already super thin. They actually ranked 24th going into the season in terms of relievers, which is obviously pretty bad of a number considering that they did win the World Series last year. Obviously, there's still more time to add on, but I do think on paper we are definitely better than the Texas Rangers this year. And also for them, they had a few players that had absolute breakout seasons. It's going to be really hard for them to maintain that, so I do think they will come down to earth this season. At least a few of them will. But I kind of want to get into certain statistics about the Seattle Mariners last season as well as future projections for this season that really stand out to me. And starting with that, I want to talk about FanDuel. Not that I'm a betting person, but FanDuel has the Mariners at the 10th most highest odds to win the World Series this year, or at least make it to the World Series at plus 2,000. And while some of you may think this is crazy to even say we're considering a World Series, obviously we just want to make it to the playoffs and see what we can do. But in my personal opinion, I do think we're better than the Twins, the Blue Jays, and arguably the Phillies as well. So that's just my personal opinion, but I do think we could be even higher on that list. And obviously something that doesn't come too much of a surprise for us Mariner fans, but the odds to win the AL Cy Young, the Mariners have 3 guys in the top 10. Obviously Castillo, Kirby, and Gilbert, all in the top 10 of the highest odds to win the AL Cy Young this upcoming season. So with that, let's start with the starting pitching staff. I do believe that this starting pitching staff is arguably top 3 in the entire league, possibly even arguably top 1 based on who you talk to, but we are just absolutely stacked on the mound this year. And one thing that really stands out this season is that we have Miller and Wu playing full seasons, hopefully, knock on wood. They can stay healthy throughout the whole year, but we do have them participating in a full year, which they didn't do last year, as we know. And you also have guys like Kirby coming off career years, and obviously you know how consistent Logan Gilbert has been for us. And to be honest, I think it could be arguably stated that Luis Castillo really needs to have a bounce-back year this year. Not that he had a horrible year last year, but he definitely really didn't show that ace mentality that we know he can show. So I think he's definitely due for a really good season this year, and if he does even better than he did last year, we're just going to be that much better as a team. But obviously, this is nothing new to us. We are pretty much as good as this pitching staff can take us, but obviously the offense does need to support them and not give us a Felix Hernandez era where he goes out and shoves and only gives up 1 run, and we still end up losing 1-0 or 2-1 or something like that. So that's definitely something that the offense needs to really improve on. And kind of transitioning into the offense, I want to talk about a few statistics that really were just horrible last year and that can easily be fixed this year. And based on the lineup on paper, I think they will be better at this season. Shout out to Tried and True on Twitter for using some of these statistics that he posted on his Twitter account. But as you can see, the Mariners are dead last in terms of hitting with an 0-2 count. They had a 120 average while hitting in a 0-2 count last season, which is just absolutely atrocious. I mean, they're down there with teams like the Pirates, the Angels, who we obviously know did not have good seasons last year, and that number can definitely be improved this year with having more bat-to-ball hitters in our lineup. But I mean, 120, I mean, that is just a horrible number and something that can easily be improved on, especially with adding guys like Polanco and Garver who have lower strikeout percentages. So that number will definitely improve. And one thing to take into consideration throughout this whole video is that even with certain statistics last year that we really struggled with, we still were only one game out of the playoffs. One singular game out of the playoffs. So we had our struggles, as we know, we had inconsistencies, and we still ended up getting that far and still playing into the last 2 games, holding out playoff hope. But moving on, let's talk about another really important stat that was really bad for the Seattle Mariners last year, which they were also dead last in again, which is the average in the DH hole. So last year in 162 games, any DH that was logged in, so this is anyone from Cal Raleigh to Mike Ford to Taylor Trammell, whatever it may be, they posted up only a .211 batting average, which, like I said, is dead last in the entire MLB. So to me, this is definitely why they brought in someone like Mitch Garver instead of maybe a Jorge Soler type, because Mitch Garver has a very good bat-to-ball profile, and he can also pop out 25 home runs if he plays in enough games, which obviously we're all praying he does. But again, posting up a .211 batting average in a position that plays every single day is just horrible, and we just had to deal with that all season long. So now having a guy like Mitch Garver in our lineup for the next 2 seasons, hopefully he can play in 120 games plus in both of them, will definitely improve this statistic and definitely push us over the edge of being a playoff team. So just to give you guys a little bit of my personal opinion on how many wins the Mariners will have this year, as well as do they really have a possibility of winning the division. I do think that we definitely have a solid chance of winning the division. I think there are certain factors that really need to play in our favor, such as injuries. Like we really need guys like Polanco and Garver to play a lot and have really full seasons for us and not just play, 80 games due to injury. And to me, another really big factor that stands out is having the platoon at third, as well as Mitch Haniger and Dom Canzone in right field. We really need 1 to 2 of those guys to really just have solid seasons. Nothing crazy. I'm not asking for all-star level seasons. All we need is major league average seasons and just guys that we can go out and play every single day without really having to worry about them hitting .211 with 8 home runs on the year. So truly, obviously, I'm extremely confident in our pitching staff, our starting 5 especially, as well as our additions to the bullpen. I think Matt Brash, Munoz, and Santos, as well as a few others, can really be dangerous for us this year. And I think they will play a massive role in keeping the games close and keeping us in the lead, even winning a lot more 4-3 games, 2-1 games whenever it's needed. But obviously people think whatever this pitching staff can do is how good we're going to be, but I really do think that this offense really needs to take a step forward this season. And one thing to know as a Mariners fan is obviously we're all used to winning on the home run ball, but this season it's going to be a lot of generating runs, not necessarily on the home run ball. We have a lot of guys in the lineup that can go out and hit 20 plus home runs, but I don't think we should be as reliant on it this year because now we have a lot more bat to ball guys and guys that'll just drive in runs on singles and doubles. So to me, if this lineup does stay healthy, I do believe this lineup is a 90 plus win lineup, especially with our starting pitching. It's just too dominant to not even consider having 90 plus wins. And in terms of winning the division, I think it's going to be very tough, and I think it's going to be another fight to the end. But I do think that we will at least make a wild card spot. Obviously, the AL is very competitive this year, especially with the AL East and the AL West. But like I said, if I was a betting man, I would definitely bet the Seattle Mariners to be a playoff team this year. So please let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and if the Mariners will be a playoff team this year. I definitely think it's a solid chance. Otherwise, I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.